Bonjour and welcome to Le Podcast de Philippe. Today we're diving into agricultural robots and AI. On discute d'une foire sur le monde agricole et technologique avec robots et IA. You know how robots are being used on farms for all sorts of tasks.
Right, it's really changing how farming works.
Yeah, and we'll be checking out this big event they had, the World FIRA 2025.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. It showed off the latest in agricultural robots.
Exactly. Robots weeding, harvesting crops.
Even milking cows, right?
That's right. We'll talk about all that. Plus the challenges and opportunities this tech brings.
Yeah.
So if you're into the future of agriculture.
This is the episode for you.
For sure.
So that World FIRA 2025 event in France, it brought together everyone involved in agriculture.
Farmers, researchers, tech developers, all in one place.
Yeah, and the focus was on AI and its role in all these advancements in agricultural robotics.
It's amazing what these robots can do, like their precision.
It's really impressive.
I was reading about that SprayBox system by Robotics. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, the SprayBox is a perfect example of how AI is helping robots make super precise decisions about managing crops.
So how precise are we talking?
This system can target and treat something like 500,000 plants every hour.
Wow, that's a lot of plants.
It is, and it does it with millimeter precision. Think about that level of accuracy.
It's got to help with using resources better, right?
Definitely. It optimizes everything. Less waste, less environmental impact. It all adds up to a more sustainable approach to agriculture.
It's mind-blowing that a robot can be that precise. And what about weeds? They're a huge problem for farmers.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
But robots are proving to be a really valuable tool to fight them. One really cool method is laser weeding.
Lasers, like in Star Wars.
It does sound futuristic, but it's real. Companies like Robotics are leading the way. Their robot can zap something like 200,000 weeds per hour.
200,000 using lasers. Is it really as effective as the old ways of doing things? What about the environmental impact of all that laser power?
Yeah, those are good questions. It might sound crazy, but laser weeding is actually a very practical solution. And it's super effective. The best part is that it gets rid of the need for those chemical herbicides.
No more herbicides. That's good for the environment and for the people eating the food, right?
Exactly. Less chemical runoff and potentially food that's basically herbicide-free.
So people could actually see a real difference in the food they eat because of this technology. That's amazing.
It really is a game changer.
But I'm sure developing these robots isn't a walk in the park. There must be some serious challenges involved.
Oh, of course. No new technology comes without its hurdles. One of the biggest ones is getting robots to correctly identify and locate ripe produce in all kinds of different environments.
I could imagine out there on the farms, it's not like a controlled lab environment, is it?
Nope. Farms are constantly changing. Think about the light, the weather, how densely the crops are planted. All those things make it really hard for robots to consistently find the produce that's ready to be picked.
It makes sense. A strawberry field is totally different from an orange grove. So on top of all that, these robots have to be able to move around these complex farm environments without damaging crops or getting stuck.
You got it. It's a tough job. Effective navigation on a farm takes advanced systems and algorithms to pull it off.
I bet. And even with all that, there's still the money side of things to consider.
Absolutely. The cost is a big factor. The initial investment for these robotic systems can be pretty steep, especially for smaller farms that might not have a ton of resources.
That makes sense. And then you have to factor in the cost of integrating these systems into how the farm already operates.
Exactly. Integrating new technology always comes with a learning curve. And then there's the training aspect. How do you train farm workers, especially folks who might not be as familiar with all this new technology?
Especially the more experienced farmers who've been doing things a certain way for a long time.
Exactly. It's a lot to consider. We also can't forget about all the ethical and social stuff, as we get more into this whole world of agricultural robots.
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's easy to get excited about all the benefits, but we can't ignore how this could affect things like jobs and the role of humans in agriculture.
For sure. As these robots get even smarter and start doing more of the tasks that humans used to do, we have to really think about the consequences.
What kind of consequences?
Well, think about it. What happens to jobs in rural communities if robots are doing all the work? How do we make sure that this shift to more automated farming is fair and benefits everyone involved?
Yeah, those are really tough questions. No easy answers there.
Exactly. It's a conversation we need to have to make sure we're doing this right.
It's not about replacing people with robots, right? It's about finding a balance.
Right. It's about using technology to make things better for everyone. to help farmers, not replace them.
It's like a reminder that technology is supposed to help people.
Exactly.
But let's get back to some of those cool innovations we were talking about. I'm still amazed by those robots that use lasers to get rid of weeds. It's such a cool idea. Can you tell me more about how that actually works on farms?
Sure. So picture this. You've got a field full of crops, and of course, some weeds mixed in. The laser weeding robot comes in with all its cameras and AI smarts. It scans the field and picks out each weed.
Wow, it can see each individual weed.
Yep. And then it uses this super precise laser beam to basically vaporize the weed.
Vaporize. That sounds intense.
It is, and the best part is it doesn't hurt the crops around it or the soil.
So it's super precise and environmentally friendly. It almost sounds too good to be true.
It's pretty amazing technology. But of course, no technology is perfect. Are there downsides? Sure. But researchers and engineers are always working on improving these systems, making them more energy efficient and making sure they're not harming anything else in the environment.
So it's all about finding that balance again, right?
Exactly.
But what about other ways to deal with weeds? Are there robots that use different methods?
Definitely. Another cool area is robots that use blades to cut weeds.
Blades. So they're like little robotic lawnmowers.
Kind of, but much more precise. They use AI-powered software to guide them.
So they know exactly which plants to cut and which ones to leave alone.
That's it. It's like having a tiny robotic surgeon out in the field, carefully removing the weeds while protecting the crops.
It's incredible how precise these systems are.
It is, and that precision means that farmers can move away from things like spraying herbicides over the whole field.
Right, they can just target the weeds directly.
Exactly. That means less chemicals being used, which is better for the environment and for the food we eat.
And it leads to safer, more sustainable food production. It's a win-win.
Definitely.
But I'm curious about how affordable these robots are. Can smaller farms actually use this technology?
That's a great question. Right now, the cost can be a problem for some farmers, especially those with smaller operations.
So it's mainly the big farms that can afford them.
For now, yeah. But the good news is that technology is always getting better and cheaper. We're starting to see smaller, more affordable robots that are designed for specific crops or tasks.
So smaller farms could get a robot that's just for, say, strawberries.
Exactly. And that makes the technology accessible to more farmers, which is really important.
It is. Everyone should be able to benefit from this.
Absolutely. But what about the farmers themselves? How are they adapting to all this new technology?
Yeah, are they all on board with the robot revolution?
Well, some are more than others. Like anything new, there's a learning curve. But a lot of farmers are excited about the potential of robots to make things more efficient, save money on labor, and grow more crops.
So they see the benefits.
Definitely. But there are always some who are hesitant to change, and that's understandable. It's important to make sure everyone feels comfortable with these new technologies.
And to provide training and support.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's still all about the farmers. Technology should help them, not replace them.
Technology is a tool.
Exactly. And we need to work together to create a future where technology and human expertise can work side by side.
So we can build a better food system for everyone.
That's the goal.
So we've been talking about all these advancements in agricultural robots and AI. Where do you think things are headed? What does the future look like for this technology?
Oh, the future of agricultural robots is going to be incredible. It's a whole technological revolution. It could completely change how we grow food and how we take care of the environment.
That's exciting. What kind of things do you see happening?
Well, for one thing, we'll see robots that can do even more than they can now. More complex tasks, more independence. Like, imagine robots that can not only pick the crops.
But also tell if they're good quality.
Exactly. And then package them up.
No way.
Yeah.
And even take them to be sold.
You got it. It's all possible.
So robots could handle the whole process,
Yeah.
from planting to getting food on our tables.
It could definitely happen. And as the technology gets better, it'll also become cheaper. That means more farms, even smaller ones, will be able to use robots.
That's great to hear. They make sure that everyone can benefit.
That's the idea. And AI is going to be a huge part of all this.
You mean the robots are going to get even smarter?
Exactly. They'll be able to analyze tons of data, weather patterns, soil conditions, even market trends.
And use that information to make better decisions.
Right. Decisions that can happen in real time. Imagine robots that can tell if there's going to be a pest problem before it even happens.
Or know exactly how much water the crops need based on the weather.
Exactly. It's like having a super smart farming assistant working 24/7.
That's incredible. So AI is going to make these robots super efficient.
Totally. And we'll probably even start to see groups of robots working together, like a whole team.
So they can get more done faster.
Exactly. It's a really cool area of development.
It sounds like we're on the edge of something really big. A whole new way of farming.
We are. But as we get into all this new tech, it's important to remember that it's all about helping people.
Right. Technology should be a tool, not a replacement.
Absolutely. Farmers will always be essential. It's their knowledge and care that make everything work.
Well said. This has been a fascinating look into the world of agricultural robots and AI. It's really inspiring to see how technology can help us grow food and take care of our planet. We've talked about a lot today. From lasers zapping weeds to super smart robots making decisions, it's clear that the future of agriculture is full of possibilities.
It really is.
Thanks for joining us today. It's been great learning from you.
It was my pleasure.
And everyone listening, thanks for tuning in to Loop Podcast de Felipe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.